I know. I may not be the person you want to see, but I am the person that you need to see. Why is that, you might ask? Because I'm here to tell you about today's sponsor, the Ridge Wallet. I've honestly carried around my wallet with me all the time now. I used to just leave it in the center console of my car, which isn't really that good of a practice, but because it was too big and too cumbersome, and it would throw my back out. And I'd always kind of be worried about those people that they'll scam you with their scanners, and they come in so many cool different designs. This is the topographic map that they had. They don't have it anymore, but they have the forged. They have the forged carbon, which is, it doesn't look like the pictures show it to. I got to be a little bit critical about that. It looks all right, but the burnt titanium looks super good, and it feels super good. Check out the Ridge Wallet in the link in the description, and we're also going to have a pinned comment. Go to theridge.com/JEDIGEAR and use the code JEDIGEAR when you're checking out to get 10% off your order. Again, thank you, Ridge Wallet. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast. And now, let's get to the podcast.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 6 of the Thus Far Nameless podcast. We read your comments, and I kind of like the idea of keeping it nameless.
But I like the idea of finding a name for it. That's all right. It's not my particular podcast.
Do you have a name for it this week?
We have a couple suggestions.
The tip of the lightsaber. That was kind of fun.
The tip of the lights.
Did you read that one?
No, I didn't read that one.
That one's great.
No, what? I mean, I don't want to bash anything that anybody else is doing, but okay. So a podcast far, far away, or
Okay.
far, far away podcast. Heard that one.
But we're not far away.
Oh.
We're in Florida,
Well,
which could be far away for some people.
You have some listeners in Australia, like a very small percentage, don't you? Yeah, they're far away.
But most people are in the United States, so it's not too far.
That's true. There's also the clone comms. Then there's the stupendous wavelength.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that one.
All right, keep on.
Is that the one? Those are the ones that you have?
Those are the ones that I found in like the 5 minutes of perusing through the comments.
Come up with one right now, on the spot. Go.
Welcome back to SWPC number 6.
SWPC?
Star Wars podcast.
It sounds like a
radio show, like a radio channel.
I was gonna say like a disease.
SWPC. Well,
Yeah.
Screw you, man. Say it's a disease. That's fine. The Thus Far Nameless Star Wars podcast. You know what? I might just say that's the name of it, just to make me feel good.
Yeah, the Thus Far Nameless Star Wars podcast. Well, today we have. Are you thirsty, Cody?
Actually, yes, I am. I might grab a water in just a second.
Do you want some tea? You want a podcast based around tea?
Sure.
You know what that means, right? Like the tea, spill the tea.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
that's what I'm trying to get at.
I'm from the South, and we spill the beans there.
You spill the beans. Well, now the kids are saying the tea.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about a little bit of Star Wars drama today. This comes from Grace Randolph, who apparently in the past has gotten a ton of Star Wars scoops wrong. So we just want to put it out there that it's very possible that this is complete banta poodoo and that it means absolutely nothing. Nonetheless, it's an interesting thing to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I just want to put it out there. I'm not saying that this is what happened for sure, but this is the rumor going around about the Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal and the drama that's been entangling them recently. Or alleged drama, I should say.
How does she claim she gets this information?
Just from people at Lucasfilm.
She works at Lucasfilm?
She doesn't work at Lucasfilm, I don't think, but I think she says she has connections.
So this is all.
But that's a real thing. People do have connections.
Okay.
In like at Lucasfilm and stuff. But from what I've seen online, a lot of people have been saying like, no, this is not at all the case. Grace Randolph doesn't have any idea what she's talking about, and a lot of the behind the scenes drama stuff, it's not occurring at all.
So this is all rumor has it.
It's all rumor has it, but at the same time, you don't want to discount it entirely because it's like, what if it is happening? Like, what if she's absolutely right and everybody's screaming at her right now and she's just trying to spill the beans or the tea, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's not true.
Me too. Yeah, from what I've read of it. But speaking of that, what happened? What do we hope not to be true?
Okay, so this is how I understand it.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, wanted more scenes with his face in the second season. The Mandalorian is this massive hit show, and he kind of wants to be, you know, he's the star of the Mandalorian, and he wants to feel like the star of the Mandalorian and have his face in more scenes where he can act without the helmet on, because it's obviously a part of the Mandalorian culture that he doesn't remove his helmet.
And I do remember hearing that it was very uncomfortable to have the helmet.
Yeah, and the armor and everything.
And he's wearing that constantly.
Right.
And so he's just like, I want to, have some scenes with it off. I could see that.
Right. So the rumor goes that he asked the creatives if he could basically take his helmet off for a few scenes, and if they could rewrite it to the point where he now has his helmet off more often. And the creatives basically told him to take a hike. So then, and I didn't know this part, but he then went to higher-ups at Lucasfilm, which is what you were telling me.
Right.
And then the higher-ups at Lucasfilm and Pedro went to the creatives of The Mandalorian, which I assume to be like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they were like, hey, our star wants more scenes with his helmet off. Can we do it? And they were basically told, like, what are you doing? Take a hike if you don't want any scenes without the helmet on. Like, we'll make it without you. And a vague threat, obviously. But apparently Pedro took it personally, and he legitimately did take a hike.
Yeah.
So Grace Randolph is saying that according to a lot of the behind-the-scenes drama, the second season of The Mandalorian will have a huge switch halfway through where it will focus on other characters because Pedro walked out. So it's like this thing where the first half of the season will focus on The Mandalorian and his adventures with the child, and then the second half of the season will be focused on new characters completely.
Oh, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. It makes me feel weird. But because it's about the Mandalorian, and if it's not
called the Mandalorian,
it's supposed to be about him. I don't like the idea of seeing his face more. I don't. I like the fact that he has the helmet on all the time. He's true to his beliefs. I understand coming from the actor perspective. It's like this thing sucks to have on.
Right. It should also be noted that in the past, Pedro does not have any history of being a problematic actor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I can believe this. It's fun. It's funny to think about.
Can you understand being Pedro though and wanting the mask off more? Like, I understand for the story that he doesn't want it off and that they don't want it off, and I agree that it shouldn't be taken off, but I can see where the actor's coming from to some extent.
Yeah, but I feel like he knew that going into the role. Like, you're going to be wearing your mask the entire time. Pretty much the entire time. Unless it's like a lone scene.
But you can understand where it's like The Mandalorian is this massive hit.
Right.
You know, like, it's huge. It's bigger than they probably expected it to be. And then he realizes this, and he realizes the great potential of The Mandalorian, and now he wants to be recognized more for that role.
Right. But I feel like if he shows his face at a bare minimum, it almost has the same exact effect. Because people are like, wait, what did his face look like? They look it up and they see that.
That's true. That's true. Like, but again, that goes back to the whole thing of like, maybe he's just uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah. And I heard that was also the reason why the trailer... I don't know. This is another one of those rumors. I cannot say whether it is true or false. I can neither confirm nor deny. That's why the trailer was so delayed, because they had to scramble and re-put in different things because of all that drama. I don't know. That's just something.
That sounds far-fetched to me.
Yeah, that sounds far-fetched. I could see that, but I read a couple of different things. It's a couple of different websites, a couple of different articles that said all kinds of different stuff. So based on the lack of consistency that I have read, I would say that it is if not completely false, just mostly false.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing my prediction.
Because I heard from Kessel Run Transmissions, who's a friend of the channel, actually, and by that I mean we follow each other on Twitter, that they were adding scenes of Ahsoka for a later trailer, and that's why they delayed it. But again, when the trailer released, there was no Ahsoka scenes, you know? Mm-hmm. But they were hearing reports that was one of the reasons why they were delaying it, because they were debating whether or not to cut a trailer with Ahsoka in it. Which Ahsoka could still appear in a later trailer.
Right. That would just be super close to have two trailers so close to each other, because you would think that one like this, that's not that...
Well, we have a month and a half.
Yeah.
It's the end of October. It's not the beginning.
That's true. I just think October, that's when it's coming out. But...
think of it like literally November 1st.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think is I think it's funny. It's like they're releasing it one day before Halloween. Like, I don't think Halloween in Star Wars like very much at all. You know, like that correlation. For me, Star Wars has always been like this Christmas time thing.
Well, I mean, I see... Well, I think like Halloween costumes. I see a lot of stormtroopers and stuff like that.
There will probably be a lot of Mandalorians.
That's
last-minute Mandalorians. Where it's like they watch the first episode. Yeah.
Low-budget Mandalorian things, or like the cheap costumes. Yeah, I could... With the stupid rubber band in the back that keeps snapping.
Right. It should also be noticed that Lucasfilm has had a history of arguing with their creatives before. Not so much actors, but more directors.
Really?
But this is interesting because it's like, normally it's a confrontation between the creatives and the higher-ups, not the actors and the creatives.
Right. But I don't know, the fact that you say that he has not been a problematic actor in the past with anybody else makes me think, well, why would he change now? I mean, I don't know what else he's been in. I don't know...
Well, he was in Game of Thrones. He's in a few movies, but he has no prior history of being a problematic actor.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine him doing that after hearing what you said. But I don't know. Maybe wearing a metal helmet all the time
makes him grumpy.
Yeah.
It made Adam Driver grumpy, but I mean, Adam Driver used it for his performance.
Right, because he was.
Because he's a grumpy guy.
He's a grumpy dude. But the Mandalorian is very well, kept together kind of.
Yeah, he's very, very... his emotions seem to be in check a lot. Unless, of course, he still parts from his ship. Then he gets kind of angry.
Yeah. Then he'll
Jawas.
Incinerate Jawas.
Yeah. I love that scene so much.
Yeah. Because you don't really see a big spectrum of emotion from the Mandalorian,
right? In part because he's got the helmet on,
right? But I love that because you have to deduct what he's feeling through his body language, and I think for that's what makes it so fantastic, the Mandalorian as a whole, because the directing of it and the filmography and the cinematography of that is all so good that you can tell what's happening. You can tell what he is feeling, even though he doesn't have facial expressions.
Right. So what did you think of the trailer?
So having watched it a couple of times now, I liked it the first time. I was like, oh! But then again, that was the hype of, this is the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer, wow! But then after watching it again, I'm like, okay, it didn't really tell us a whole lot. I mean, I have a big old list of stuff that it did tell us.
It's the search for Jedi.
Right. I don't know. So I guess I'm just keep on thinking of the things that we were all expecting. We didn't see Ahsoka. We saw potentially Sabine.
I don't think it's Sabine.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think that character is Sabine. I think that Sasha Banks is playing a new character.
What makes you think that? Well, I would like to break it down.
Yeah, go for it. I'll let you break it down.
Well, scene by scene. So... In the very beginning, we have the broken Razor Crest, and what I think it could be going over Yavin, heading towards Yavin 4. Even though, because it has a very similar, look as when the Millennium Falcon is passing by Yavin. Although Yavin is a lot more red in that movie than it is in here. But like it correlates the same way how the moon is rising over it, and like that's how the camera is panning. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's heading towards Yavin 4, and then it breaks into the Lucasfilm title. And this is a cool little side note. It has, I think it's music from The Who. Not like The Who, but like The Who. You're giving me a look. So The Who is a...
the band The Who?
Not The Who, but The Who. They're a Mongolian metal band.
Oh, like the Mongolian throat singers and stuff?
Yeah, but I looked up some of their music, and it's cool. But the little Star Wars tidbit that I learned from one of the videos that I watched is that they're kind of bringing The Who back, because in the beginning of Jedi Fallen Order, Cal was listening to The Who.
Oh, that's right. So you think it's like...
I think that they're just kind of bringing The Who back into like the Star Wars universe. But anyhow, so then it goes into this place that has kind of an industrial looking city with street lamps and stuff. I heard somebody project that it could be Corellia.
Okay.
But what I really like the idea of it being is Lothal. Because why would the Mandalorian? Because it has that industrial look. And there's graffiti everywhere. Like on Lothal, there's a lot of graffiti too. And on Lothal, there's a hidden Jedi temple. Like that could be because they're trying to find Jedi, and so where can they?
That's why I speculated that they were going back to Tatooine, was because that's a place where in the past Jedi have stemmed from. Like Luke, Obi-Wan was there, Anakin. Like I think that he's hunting down little tidbits of recent history of the Jedi Order, which would be cool.
Right.
Which also leads into, I don't want to jump ahead super far, but is he on Ilum?
Yes. I would think he's on Ilum, and I think that I don't know, that trench might be something. Might be where the Empire was starting to dig it out, and then because this is where the First Order is still in its infancy.
Right.
So I think the First Order is maybe trying to turn that into Starkiller Base, or like doing that right at that point. That's what that trench is.
Right.
Perhaps. Going back to Lothal, in this temple, I sent you a picture earlier today, but in that temple on Lothal, there's a picture of a Yoda figure.
Okay.
And there's two little depictions of a Yoda figure. There's one with a cane and then one without a cane. And I'm like, is this where we get to learn more about the Yoda species?
That is a great find.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw that, I was like, whoa, that's so true. That's a thing.
And Dave Filoni would know all of this because he's with Rebels and now, you know.
And so I think that's what sold me on that city, or that city-looking planet that they were on.
Being Lothal.
And I also thought it was cool how when they were walking by, there was two little Jawa eyes that was watching him. But then the scene cuts and it goes over to Tatooine. And I'm very convinced that that's Tatooine. I mean,
it is. Yeah, he's a Bantha and a Tusken.
Yeah, it's
Tuskens. I think are unique or they're only on Tatooine. Jawas go around, but I think Tuskens are only Tatooine.
Okay. And something that was funny. I feel like I don't want to just keep on reiterating the stuff that I saw in this one video, but it was just so interesting. But this was a little funny tidbit how the Bantha, it was like a Bantha lip sync. Where he said, when the Mandalorian said, where? But the Bantha's mouth opened up, so it looked like the Bantha said, where? You have to look at it later. And what I am most pumped about that, or about it being on Tatooine, is that's where we're most likely going to see Boba Fett.
Right. Maybe Boba Fett.
Here's my, I don't want to say argument, but here's my argument. Why I think I'm thinking it is more and more Boba Fett as I watched videos and as I did a little bit more research. Okay, so first of all, you have the beeps and the clinks of the spurs. So his armor in the scene where he's picking up Fennec Shand, his armor does the same exact beep as it does.
Let me stop you real quick. Okay. So in Star Wars Aftermath, which takes place. It details the year after Return of the Jedi, all the way into Jakku. Boba Fett's armor is actually taken by a lawman known as Cobb Vanth.
Right.
Okay, so if it is Boba Fett, he's not wearing his armor.
So here's what I'm saying, and that's what I was thinking is it could just be the armor with the beeps and the spurs. Okay, so there's that. But then 5 years, like he may have gotten it back, and we know that. Is that canon or is that legend?
That's canon.
That's canon.
Canon.
Okay, well, movies sometimes do whatever, or the films do whatever they want, right? Like they sometimes say, well, we'll change it. This is just...
I don't think they're going to do that.
This is a possibility. Now, hear me out. So, Boba Fett, 5 years later, what is he... I mean, he may have gotten it. He may have gotten it back.
They also said that Timothy Olyphant, the actor, would be portraying potentially Cobb Vanth in the second season of The Mandalorian.
Potentially, yes.
Which means maybe Boba Fett comes back as like a stinger at the end of season 2.
But so my thing is, why would Cobb Vanth pick up Fennec Shand?
Because he's a lawman.
Versus why would Boba Fett pick up Fennec Shand? Because she got a 10,000 credit bounty on her head, and he's one of the best bounty hunters out there. He saw, and he knew everything was happening. He knew that they were going to go for her, and he was projecting all this to happen. One of the best bounty hunters out there. He's like, I'll just get this
an easy bounty.
Easy bounty. Takes her back, freezes her up, gets the bounty for her. And my thinking was like, why would Cobb Vanth pick her up?
Because he's a lawman.
Yeah, I mean. So I was just siding, thinking it may be Boba Fett, but
if it is Boba Fett, he'd probably be in a new armor.
True.
I'm not saying it's not Boba Fett.
No, I like the idea. I like the idea of it being Cobb Vanth more. I'm just saying these are the facts that are.
Me too. I don't want Boba Fett to like show up just
Fett.
Like right away. Right. I want him to be like a part of the story.
That reminds me of something else that I saw. There was somebody that had a really keen eye that picked this up. That in part of the scene in Tatooine, I think it was Tatooine, or it might have been. It had to have been Tatooine. But the Mandalorian was on a speeder, on a little speed bike, and it was a really fast scene. It was relatively blurry, but it looked like there was Boba Fett's armor on that speed bike.
Yeah. There's a huge debate. Some people are saying, like, yes, that's Boba Fett's armor for sure. And others are like, that just looks like the back of a speeder.
And I'm saying that it could...
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility, and it could be cool how, Boba Fett has Din Djarin, working for him to get his armor back or whatever. He's like, I'll give you this information about the Jedi if you get this back for me.
If you get my armor back, that would be so cool.
Yeah. I think that would be... that'd be amazing. But anyhow...
we got to see Boba and Din Djarin fight if Boba Fett's in this season.
That'd be cool if he thought he was... If they thought that they were... they got along fine at first, but then, Din Djarin was like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
And Boba Fett should win.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I mean, Boba Fett's, hunted down Jedi before. I'm not saying Din Djarin would fail against Jedi, but... Boba Fett's made it through a lot.
Yeah, Boba Fett is the best bounty hunter out there.
Right.
Not my favorite bounty hunter out there, but the best.
You like IG-11?
I just like the IG series.
Yeah, IG units.
Yep.
IG unit, stand down.
I don't know about General Grievous IG units. I don't know about the IG.
His Magna Guards?
Yeah, those are IG hundreds, like IG 100s.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I did not know that.
Yep. Oh, that's. I knew something that you didn't. But then again, I think those are the only things I know that you don't is about the IG units. Like how Boba Fett killed IG-88, and then that his Magna Guards are IG hundreds. But anywho, at that point is kind of where I cut off my in-depth search because I had to do some other things. But it looks like we go on to a water planet.
Mon Cala.
Could be Mon Cala or it could be Camino because I don't
think that's Camino.
I saw by the fact that we see the Mon Calamari, we see the
Quarrens.
And we see them. There's like so many of those in that scene. Makes sense for it to be Mon Cala.
I would be so surprised if it's Camino.
There was some other.
Is there a harbor? Is there even a harbor on Camino?
Is there a harbor like on Mon Cala?
Yeah, that's where they are. They're at like a harbor.
Right. If it's on Mon Cala, but everything that I've seen on Mon Cala has been under the water. Yeah,
but there's got to be above water stuff going on. I don't think it's Camino. I think that sounds crazy. It could be Camino. Watch it be Camino.
It could be Camino, and that could, tie together the Camino patch that the dude had, the scientist dude.
Maybe the Imperial scientist.
Yeah,
maybe. I would be so surprised.
I'm just saying it could be. I think I'm more on your side, thinking that it's Mon Cala. To be honest.
TBH.
TBH. And let's see. Somebody else. I don't know. Somebody else said that the skiff that they were using, or the little boat that they were using, looked very similar to. This is in the comics. What's her bucket that Luke followed?
Verla?
Yeah. The skiffs looked very similar.
Who knows? Maybe Verla's in the second season of The Mandalorian. They've done that before, where Star Wars comic books have hinted at like things in the movies and TV.
Kind of like foreshadowing.
Yeah.
That'd be very interesting. And then after that is the Ilum stuff. And I think that it's Ilum. Somebody else said that it might be the moon that Ahsoka buried all of the troopers on.
The trooper heads on.
Yeah.
Or trooper heads.
She buried all the trooper heads.
She cut off all their heads and buried them. I meant more like...
That's where we saw...
She paid tribute to them.
Yeah. And somebody mentioned that it might be that, but I think it'd be Ilum because they're on the search for Jedi, and there's a scene where there's this crashed ship, which isn't his Razor Crest. You know which one I'm talking about? There's a scene, and there's Baby Yoda, and then there's Mando behind Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
walking up to him.
You don't think that's the Razor Crest?
I don't think that's the Razor Crest. The markings on it aren't right. I think it's a crashed rebel ship because the Empire had control of that. They were digging it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes sense to have a crashed rebel ship. And so the thing that caught my eye, this is just from my speculation, not from what anybody else has said that I've seen. I think that Baby Yoda is leading a lot of this search. And you know how, kyber crystals and stuff, they call out to Jedi, or so it seems. They
Right.
It's almost like they have that honing device on them. I think that because Baby Yoda's in the foreground, Mando's in the background, he's kind of being like, all right, where are we going?
Where are we going, little guy?
And then he kneels down, and then they're walking into a cave, which reminds me, when they go and they're trying to find their kyber crystal. Not saying that Baby Yoda's going to assemble a lightsaber or anything like that, but it's just...
Maybe they'll take a crystal with them.
Maybe. Yeah, I could see that. There's one that's calling to him, because who knows how old, Yoda's lightsaber is, and when he made his own lightsaber. He could have made it at 50 years, a young 50 years. Is that how old he is? 50 years old?
50 years old.
Yeah. And then I think, does it go into the scenes with the X-Wings after that?
I think so, yeah. The X-Wings flying in the clouds.
Mm-hmm. So I heard that might be Cloud City.
Just because there's clouds?
Just because there's clouds? Hey, I am bringing up every possible option.
Okay.
And they can have... I blanked on his name.
Lando?
Yeah. Well, no, not Lando, but that one guy played Lando.
Childish Gambino.
That's who I wanted to say, but I didn't want to say that because people were like, you don't know his name, but you're the one that said it, so go. Yeah, that guy. Why can't I think of his name?
Donald Glover.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, you just said Childish Gambino, which is what was in my mind. They could have him play Lando. And I could...
Cody just shrugged his arms for those of you that can't.
Oh, yeah.
Well, none of you
for
guys
those of you who can't see, the other ones with the...
with the Force.
With the Force could see us. So, if you can't see us, then, you need... Okay.
You're not Force sensitive.
Okay.
Just kidding, you are.
Oh, yeah.
Love you.
So it could be Cloud City, just because there's clouds. Think that's kind of a really, really far out there reach, but it's a possibility. And another thing that was pointed out in one of the videos that I watched is how the Razor Crest has 2 yellow stripes on it at the top, which I don't know if it might just be a repaired part that he picked up from something else, or if it might be a Rebel Alliance marking. Because the X-Wings, when it looks like they might be chasing him,
they pull up alongside him later. Well, now it would be the New Republic.
They're aside him beforehand, and then they're behind him afterwards, but they're not shooting at him.
Right.
So they're not trying to shoot him down or catch him or whatever.
Well, this, like I said, this would be the New Republic right now. They're not the Rebels anymore.
All right. So I don't know. Maybe that's an option. I'm trying to think of what happens after that one. I think it goes back to what I predict to be Lothal, where it has the dude strung up. I would be willing to bet that Mando did that, and he's doing intimidation tactics.
Yeah, like Batman.
Yeah. Where are they?
And then you also have the like big fight scene at the end where it's like like almost a boxing match with Gamorrean guards, which we haven't seen since Return of the Jedi.
And these guys aren't fat.
Oh yeah, they are.
They're jacked. Yeah. They're like built like a guard. And somebody said that I think it's probably just a underground fighting thing. Some people might be like, oh, this is a tryout for whoever's Jabba's next guard, but Jabba's dead at this point.
Right.
But I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, they're doing that fight, and obviously Mando still has a price on his head, or Baby Yoda still has a price on him.
That moment is so cute when Baby Yoda closes the pod.
I knew that you'd be all over that one, and then you like posted it on Twitter shortly after.
Yeah.
Yep. I think I really liked that scene too. It was super funny because he just noped the heck out of there.
Yeah, he knew what was going on. He was like, uh-oh.
And I do like how they cut out and it was just audio.
You do like that.
I liked that. I thought that was cool. I mean, I would prefer in the...
Oh, yeah, no. They're not going to cut it out in the show.
Yeah, he has to absolutely destroy everyone. And then he throws his vibroblade? Vibroblade into the dude. But other people are saying that's Jon Favreau's cameo. Is the Mike Wazowski dude?
That's possible. That'd be really cool. It does kind of sound like him.
That's what people are saying. That might be his cameo.
I think that practical effect looks so good.
Yeah, the prosthetic on his face.
Yeah, he looks great.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, that's one of the best like Star Wars, like weird Star Wars alien characters, like the most fluid and the most believable.
It would make so good.
It would make sense to be Jon Favreau's cameo, because he's like, I want it to look the best, I don't know, because he went in his other cameo with the
Mandalorian. What's his
Paz
name?
Vizsla.
Yeah, Paz Vizsla. Good job.
With thanks, man. I learned that from the action figure. No, wait, no, the action figure doesn't say that. It just says Heavy Infantry Mandalorian.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't say Paz Vizsla. But I wanted that action figure really bad, so I looked it up, and that's how I learned his name. So, indirectly. But, because, he was obviously the super big one, the jacked one with the insane gun.
Right.
Kind of shows, Jon Favreau, he's like, you know what? I'm going to do a cameo. I want to be a Mandalorian, but I want to be the absolute Chad of Mandalorians.
Are you also going to talk about the chase scene on what looks to be Navarro with more space?
I'm not going to talk about
speeder bikes.
No, I didn't get. I know that there's. Oh yes, I remember that. So and then it goes into that. What a lot of people are predicting to be a Star Destroyer.
Right. I think it's a Star Destroyer.
You think it's a Star Destroyer?
Yeah.
Is there like a happy medium, like one that's not so massive?
I'm sure there is.
Well, then again, if he has a Star Destroyer, then he has so many other ships, so many other, and maybe
it's just his Star Destroyer in the TIE Fighters.
And it's just He might have an Imperial shuttle on there somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think that also would add to his intimidating character.
Well, I mean, he is a Moff, which is a really high rank.
Oh, I didn't know that about ranking. I thought that was just his name because Star Wars has weird names.
Well, it would be like Grand Moff Tarkin. Grand Moff is a rank.
Oh, I didn't know.
Like Moff Gideon.
Okay.
Yeah, so Moffs are really high up.
Wow, that's cool. I learn something new every day. But that adds to, how intimidating of a character he is. And, I feel like you can feel how intimidating they are in the original series. And, but I really loved what the first season of The Mandalorian did. And I realize I do this a lot with my hands. Nobody can see this, but it's dumb. Okay. But I really like what they did in the first season where they made the ATST. They made that, which seemed so seemingly small in the original series.
They made it, like, terrifying.
They made it so big, and they're like, I've seen one of these wipe out so many people. And I think that if they put that, but multiply it by, I don't know, thousands to show you how intimidating a Star Destroyer really is, I think that would be super, super cool. But, so there's a scene where there's the speeder bikes going off of something.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously chasing after Mando. And in that scene, things that you probably wouldn't pick up right away is there's dead stormtroopers in the background, meaning that there was a fight on there somewhere. I don't know what planet that might be. It was kind of a blackish color.
Where was this? With the speeder bikers? Is that what the scene you're talking about?
Yeah, where they're going off that ledge.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what planet that would.
I think it looks like Navarro.
It kind of looked like the volcanic part of Navarro.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is Navarro.
And what else? Because we know that Navarro is in there. It's probably going to be in there a lot. And then we have Grief Karga in some robes.
Yeah, he looks good.
He looks like he probably became more of a political figure of maybe Navarro.
You think so?
Maybe a higher up. Or
you don't think he's doing the whole bounty hunter thing?
Oh, I think he's probably doing that too. Side hustle.
And then Cara Dune is there. I
have no idea what she will do or what role she'll play, but she's a cool character. I like her. I don't have any more of that of the trailer memorized.
I think you pretty much got it all, man.
I did. Very nice.
Good job, Cody.
Thanks, man.
Well, that's about all we had planned. I didn't ask questions for this podcast, so you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm super excited for the second season of The Mandalorian to come out. I personally, I don't know who that hooded figure was. You think it's going to be somebody new?
I think it's a new character.
They were on that was Mon Cala, or what we believe to be Mon Cala's when we saw that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people believe that it may be Sabine Wren, which would lead to us possibly meeting Ahsoka Tano because they left together.
Right, to go find Ezra.
And so if it was Sabine, it could lead to
Who's
Ahsoka.
to say?
Who's to say? Who knows? Other than that, I'm excited to see it. Take what we said about the drama earlier today, take that with a grain of salt. We're not 100% sure about that.
We're not even 50% sure.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that's all I got. You have any last words?
No, good job. I enjoyed your breakdown and analysis. I'm glad that there was stuff to talk about this week.
Oh yeah, things are gonna be getting
more spicy. All right, guys, we love you. This has been the Nameless Star Wars podcast thus far. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.